advanced digital skills. And I think it's important when we develop these programs that we don't leave anyone behind. We really need to think about what are the most vulnerable communities that can be set aside because of this digital transformation, and how do we incorporate them in all of these plans. And here I'm thinking about women, and I'm thinking about people that live in rural areas where they have less access to tech infrastructure, less access to equipment. We need to be very thoughtful around these people. And then finally, I would say it's also a great opportunity for us as a country to think about diversity and inclusion, and to develop a society that is more open, more, I would say, richer in perspectives, and more diverse, because we know it does drive business success. So for me, those are the three pillars in which we need to work on, with the technology and innovation always at the heart of this. And what I want to stress here also is that as Google, we seriously bet on Spain, and we seriously bet on the country, and we want to be an ally to move and to help Spain embrace technology and advance in this digital transformation. And I really think we have the will, we have the skills to make this happen.
So can you tell us a little bit more how Google is supporting the economic, the business, and the entrepreneurs in Spain particularly?
Yeah, so as we know, I mean, we have so many companies that are going through very difficult times, but as I was also telling you, those that have embraced technology have been able to pivot quicker and to mitigate the impact of this crisis. And so what we believe is that we really need to support companies doing that shift, embracing technology, ensuring that they have the right online presence, that they are able to sell online. Those are critical skills that we need to have now. So this is why, just before the summer, a few months ago, we launched an initiative called Impulso Digital, in partnership with the Minister of Commerce, Tourism and Industry, to help and collaboratively, I would say, transform all that ecosystem. This is part of a wider initiative that we have in EMEA, and we have committed to train 10 million businesses and bring 10 million businesses online. How we are going? Yeah, that's a big number. In the next 18 months, I would say. So how are we going to do that, and particularly in Spain with this initiative, Impulso Digital? What is it? So we have developed a site in which we have all the resources, all the tools, and we have access to all the trainings we are developing to really be able to scale and to impact as many businesses as possible. But I will also say we are putting a special focus on the travel industry. We know travel is key for our economy. It's 13% of our GDP and more or less the same number for the employment pre-COVID. We know how much travel has been hit, and therefore we are developing a special track for travel. We have a think tank. We have special sessions. We are developing and we are providing the industry with tons of insights on how demand is shifting and get them ready, because when demand will be back, and I hope it will be back, they are ready to capture all that demand, and so that we can see how Spain recovers.
Well, there's few industries that I think have been hit as hard as travel, and from Google for Startups as well, we've launched a Growth Academy Travel Tech, trying to support startups that are bringing innovation to the travel industry, which we've discussed in the past, how much in need it was. And there's many other industries that are suffering, and we really hope that they see this as a time for innovation. At the same time, there's some other industries that are benefiting from this, that they're able to respond to the current challenges. We see the gaming and entertainment, we see e-commerce, we see companies that are transforming digital businesses to the digital world. And we also want to make sure that we're supporting them. We want to make sure that we're enabling them, that we're helping them create employment, become the next scale-ups, and just be engines of the economic growth. So a little bit of both worlds.
Yeah, and I think the startup ecosystem is absolutely critical in this process, because they are agile, they are flexible, they bring innovation, so we definitely need them to be part of this. And the way I see this, and just to close, I would say that for me, this is a key moment. We need to unite forces. We need the corporations, we need the entrepreneurs, we need the institutions, but we need the whole of the society to drive this change. to really embrace technology, put technology in the center, and let's transform together this fantastic country that we have, and let's bring it to the next level. And I hope you and me, we can see that together.
Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree more. Well, thank you, Yuan, for your time today. And thank you, everyone. Let's continue with South Summit.
Thank you.
A huge thank you to Fuencisla and to Barbara, two amazingly successful businesswomen. So, we heard about the importance of adapting and innovating, and few sectors have been as hard hit by the pandemic as education. Now, when COVID-19 arrived, it prompted an almost total shutdown of schools, colleges, universities, all over the world. Students and teachers had to navigate the new normal of classes being held using platforms like Microsoft Teams and Canvas, and many educational establishments are still encouraging remote learning. So, the educational landscape has changed dramatically in 2020. But are the new EdTech solutions innovative enough, and is this sector moving quickly enough to meet the challenge? We're going to hear from two very brilliant leaders in the field, Wendy Kopp and Anna Botín, who will be sharing some gems of advice on leveling up that everyone should know about. But first, I have another envelope. So let's bring back our hard-working judges and meet our two finalists in the category of education. And they are... Our finalists, I'm thrilled to reveal that our two finalists in education track are Game Learn and Buddy.I. But before that, bear with me, I would like to introduce you to Wendy Kopp and Anna Botín, who are going to be talking to us. Hello, Wendy. Hello, Anna.
Hello, everybody at South Summit. It's great to be here with Wendy, and it is a pleasure to have the chance to interview you, Wendy. You've created a global network of organizations around the world, and that really you're making a huge difference in terms of helping that all children have access to education and to fulfill their potential. So it's been now 30 years since you straight out of university set out to build this incredible, amazing company, really at the end, nonprofit. So for those who don't know the story, can you just tell us a little bit more about how you managed to do that?
Sure. Wow, it was a little over 30 years ago when I was a college senior at Princeton, and I found myself, I was part of the me generation. I mean, people thought that all our generation wanted to do was go work on Wall Street and make a lot of money. And I just felt like that wasn't right. That, in fact, I was one of thousands of people who were just searching for a way to make a real difference in the world. And I thought the real issue was that all of the recruiters at the time of liberal arts graduates like myself were investment banks, management consulting firms, banging down our doors, asking us to commit just 2 years to work in their firms. And that's really what led to this idea. I was so concerned about the growing inequities in our country, and I think that came together with this kind of search to just say, why aren't we calling upon the rising generation of recent graduates as aggressively to commit 2 years to teach in our lowest income communities as we were being called upon to do that on Wall Street. And really within 1 year, with the partnership of college students who launched a grassroots recruitment campaign, experienced teachers from urban and rural areas who stepped up to say, we will train and support these incoming teachers, and the support of the corporate world, we were able to pull this together. And 1 year after I graduated, I was looking out on an auditorium full of 500 of our country's most outstanding, diverse recent college graduates who had committed to do this. And that was really the beginning of what then became a very long and challenging journey.
It's amazing. Every time I hear it, I just feel it's something very, very special. And I know that many of the audience here at South Summit are entrepreneurs themselves, and they're looking to either start or scale their businesses. So what advice would you give these entrepreneurs?
You know, I guess I think a lot about the line between confidence and humility, and how important it is to kind of get that right. Like, I think about myself as a young entrepreneur, and on the one hand, I was so convicted about the importance of this idea, and I wasn't going to let that go, but I was also very aware of how much I didn't know, and I think that led to a level of openness and a search for please help, and I think it was walking that line that helped us kind of get where we wanted to go.
That is so interesting. It's I love that. So over the last 13 years, you also have been leading the Teach for All, which is really the outside the United States expansion. You know, many times you know what it is you want to do, but how you do it is as important. And I think what is special about what you've done through Teach for All is how you've approached building this as a network of locally led enterprises. So tell me a bit of why you chose that approach and what you think is special about it. I mean, what has enabled as you have scaled?
As of 15 years ago, I had my head down, just fully focused on the US, just, you know, working to address, you know, the massive issues here. I wasn't thinking about the rest of the world at all. And there was something in the water. I mean, within a particular year, I had met 13 people from different countries, from India to China to Chile to the next place, who were just determined to see something similar happen in their countries. And the only way we could think to do this was to launch a network of independent, locally led, governed, funded organizations. Of course, there are so many brilliant people in all these different countries around the world, and they're also informed by such a diversity of context and culture. And we've seen that that's led to such innovation. And with a global platform to help everyone, you know, to capture the innovations and share them, we've seen that our learning curve has just been, I mean, it's sped up our learning dramatically.
So I'm curious about what you've seen and learned during the pandemic. I think it's been very challenging for everyone, but especially, I must say, during the lockdowns for children around the world, which haven't been able to go to school. I can't think of another crisis in education like this one ever. So what have you been focused on over the past few months?
Well, and you can imagine that the students least likely to be safe and learning are the most marginalized kids in the world, and those are the students who the Teach for All network partners exist to work with. So our number one priority all across the Teach for All network has been to keep kids safe and learning. It's been so inspiring to see teachers, irrespective of how much technology access exists among their students, just lean into this moment, not only with their own students, but even partnering with their government ministries to train other teachers to take over the radio stations and be the, you know, promoting education and providing lessons via radio, to even, you know, biking to communities with paper materials and dropping them off and picking them up each day. There's so much talk about the technology divide right now, and of course it's very real, but what we've seen is that the biggest divide is a leadership divide. And, you know, really whether or not students have had access to teachers, school leaders, parents, and others who are willing to just do whatever it takes to meet their needs and move them ahead. You know, for the first time in history, as we know it at least, we've stepped out of today's educational box, and we think that that does present some new possibilities, and we've really been trying to focus on those possibilities to say, how can we learn in this era so that when we come back, we're coming back much better, and really to a reimagined education that really can prepare our young people to shape a better future and navigate the uncertainty.
So, I mean, I guess the big question for me from the business side is, how do you think businesses and nonprofit organizations like yours, like Teach for All, can work together better, might I say, or what is the best way for us to work together in partnership to create societies that truly work for everyone.
You know, if we can, within our communities and countries, create the space to build relationships with each other across sectors and think together about both the challenges we face, but also our aspirations, you know, we'll invent new possibilities. And we see that wherever there's like real progress within communities, and there are communities all around the world making real progress for young people, always it's a product of leadership, people exerting leadership and working collaboratively, you know, across sectors to get there. So I think it's such an important question. So I'm curious how you think about that.
So, well, I mean, I've always believed in what when I get asked, what is it you'd like to be remembered for? And I always say, you know, for having built a responsible bank. And I think, to me, that is the key word. I think nonprofits and corporations, you know, I call it profit with purpose. I mean, we have to make a profit, otherwise we will not get the capital. And so this is the first one, that we all must believe that this is the right thing to do. And I think society increasingly is asking us to do that. The second one, you said it, you have to complement each other. So not all businesses can work with all nonprofits. So in a way, it's like a marriage. When you complement each other, it works better. I mean, I personally actually have always believed that, you know, my favorite sentence is education isn't everything, but it's almost everything. But I think that we complement each other, that creates a much stronger network. And of course, there's many worthy causes around the world. So, you know, that is how I see it.
I love that, Anna. And I think I've heard you say that before. Education isn't everything, but it's almost everything. It's such a powerful thought.
So thank you. That was brilliant. Thank you so much, Wendy, for being with us. As always, it's a pleasure.
It's such an honor to have the chance to talk with you. Next time, hopefully in person.
I hope you stay healthy and you know, continue to doing this amazing work for education and for all the children. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Wendy and Anna, another two immensely inspiring women. So, back to education. GameLearn is the #1 video game learning platform with the most award-winning catalog and an authoring tool to create your own video games. And here to meet our judges for the second time around is Ibrahim Jabari, founder of GameLearn.
Before COVID-19, the corporate e-learning market was expected to double by 2024, hitting the $31 billion mark. After coronavirus, the changes expected during 7 years will happen in just one. And some studies now set the new market size at $200 billion. This has opened an immense opportunity because schools, universities, and corporations need to transform their content into digital formats. To do so, they have to use the available authoring tools, which all share the same flow. They use ancient technology like text, test, video, or PowerPoint, the newest being over 30 years old. And what happens when you use old technology for online training? Boring, non-experiential learning, low completion rates, and an NPS of -20. How do we solve this problem? We design video games for corporate training, combining simulation, storytelling, and gamification. We offer fun, experiential learning that yields completion rates of over 90% and an NPS of 50. Why doesn't the rest of the training companies use video games too? They'd like to, but they can't. It takes millions of dollars, 1 to 2 years of development, and a dedicated technical team to create a training game. Our solution: we've leveraged both our experience serving over 2,000 corporate clients and the know-how designing award-winning serious games to build the editor, a unique authoring tool for creating training video games at a minimal cost, in a matter of hours, and without writing a single line of code. Our business model: clients pay a minimum monthly fee and around $10 every time someone plays one of their games. With only 6 games, GameLearn sells 6+ million. We are growing 55% year on year, and we have an LTV CAC ratio of around 7. Scaling is guaranteed. Up until now, we only sold through our own sales force, offering a very limited catalog of games to corporate clients. Now, with many more games, we will exponentially increase our corporate customer base, and boost recurrence. Corporate clients whose needs were not met by our offerings before will now be able to create their own video games. Furthermore, training companies all over the world will be using our platform to sell game-based learning to their own corporate clients, as will do business schools, universities, or any training consultant. No incumbent offers a video game authoring tool. The education sector is rushing to digital, but it can do so using 30-year-old technology. The editor will be for online training what PowerPoint was for presentations.
The education sector is rushing to digital, and we are going to rush to our judges to see if anybody has a question. If you do, please raise your hands, both physically and digitally. I can see hands raised on our digital platform. Ainoa is going to move to our yellow screen to ask Ibrahim his first question.
So thank you, Ryan, and congratulations for the presentation. I want to continue with the topic that Fuencisla talked before regarding the SMEs segment. I know that you are talking about corporates and training to corporates, but now the big issue due to the pandemic is that most of the SMEs doesn't know about this digital transformation, about e-commerce, about payments in digital. We are doing quite an effort in doing that, but platforms like yours would be very, very good for this kind of segments. So how flexible is your product and how flexible is your go-to-market to change that? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Well, the platform itself, the product itself is completely flexible. I think us selling to corporates is basically a strategic decision. With time, we're going to be opening not only to corporates, but other segments, including small companies and even B2C. But for the time being, due to lack of resources, we prefer to focus on the corporate segment because it's got the quick money and the quick decisions.
Amazing. Ainoa Campo is the global head of open innovation from BBVA. She manages the relationship of BBVA with the global fintech ecosystem. So if you're into fintech and want to work with BBVA, and Ainoa is who you need to know. And a great question for her. Do we have any more questions from our panel of judges? We have a question from Lucille Cornet. Come with me. Let's fly over to the big screen. And here comes the second question for Ibrahim.
Hey, Ibrahim. First of all, I'm a big fan of innovation in corporate learning. I think, as you say, there is a lot more that could be done to improve the tools. My question is, how much custom content do you do for your customers? And if not, how do you train some existing learning and development professionals to use your authoring tool, which is probably quite new to them? Thank you.
So until now, the truth is that we've been doing off-the-shelf products, so no customization at all. And now, because we built this new software authoring tool, the editor, now we are able to customize and even create completely new games for our clients. One of the challenges, obviously, is to teach people how to design those games. Creating them through the editor is really easy because it's very usable. The true challenge is how we're going to train them. So until now, we didn't show our knowledge. Now we are building a whole bunch of training tools to teach them understand how to build a design video game.
And TikTok, your time is up. Ibrahim, thank you so much, Lucille. Lucille Cornet is principal and deal lead at 8 Roads Ventures, a $6 billion global VC platform with offices in Europe, Asia, and the US. Portfolio companies include Made.com, Treatwell, Red Points, Wallapop, and Fever. So, amazing people to be asking you questions, Ibrahim. And we are going to go to our next pitch. Buddy AI is your children's personal virtual AI English tutor that helps children practice their spoken English. And here to make friends and influence people is Ivan Krukov, co-founder and CEO of Buddy.ai.
Hi, I'm Ivan, the co-founder and CEO of Buddy AI, and we're building the voice-based AI English tutor for kids. It all started when I brought my daughter Sophia to the United States. She was 3 years old and she had to learn how to speak English. Of course, there were tons of English learning apps and websites, but it turns out that the only way to practice speaking online was through tutoring platforms that connect children and teachers via video conferencing and charge like $20+ per lesson, which is too expensive for most families, right? And there are 500 million children with the same problem in the world today. So enter Buddy AI. We help children practice spoken English by talking with a virtual AI-powered character, just as they would with a human tutor. Meet Buddy AI.
Hello, Ivan.
Hi, Buddy.
How are you?
Doing great, and you?
I'm great, thank you. Do you want to play dinosaurs?
I'm a bit busy here.
Bye-bye. See
Bye.
you later.
Buddy lives in a mobile app. He helps children learn speaking vocabulary, improve pronunciation, and even practice real-life dialogues. Today, Buddy is a prototype with just 5% of planned functionality, but it already has 30,000 paying students, generating over $1.7 million in annualized subscription revenue. And we have 200,000 user reviews worldwide, almost all of which are 5-star ratings. Last year, Buddy has won the Global Education Startup Innovation Award and was nominated for more Voice Technology and Education Awards. Buddy's secret sauce took us 2 years to cook, and essentially, it's a virtual character powered by a proprietary speech stack and a adaptive learning technology developed in-house. Our focus on speaking and our virtual AI-powered tutor makes us different from the regular language learning apps and bring us closer to online human tutors. We're a small team, but we have the experience of building powerful voice-first products and adaptive learning systems. We sold our previous voice technology company, and our kids just made us build Buddy. The time is now. Buddy just became possible because of the recent advancements in AI technology. And the pandemic made online learning a new normal, making our work important as never before. So join us on a mission, and I hope our children will be able to really speak to each other. Thank you very much. I'd be happy to share more.
So who wants to join Ivan on this fun, interactive, educational voyage? Which one of our panel of judges is going to raise his hand to ask questions? We have questions both on the physical. Fernando, we're going to head for Fernando. Fernando has a question for you, Ivan. Fernando, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Hello, Ivan. Great pitch. Can you tell us a bit more on how are you planning to adapt the learning system as the child grows?
So basically, we are collecting data on the students' learning pace and style as the student learns. And so we use this data to personalize the learning plan of the student on the go. It's a part of our solution.
Great, and right on time.
Is Fernando happy with that answer?
Yes, thank you.
Very educational. We have another question from our digital panel. Jose Manuel Carol, please go ahead. The floor is yours. Ask Ivan his second question.
Hi, thank you very much, Ivan. Congratulations for your project. It's really, really amazing. I would like to know why are you just addressing your solution just to kids? If it's just before you are going to start through kids and then you're going to maybe to open to another kind of people, or you're going to be always addressed for kids? Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question. So actually 20% of our users are already adults, so it started as a personal problem, and we are really committed to working with children. And there is a, the business logics behind that. Unlike unlike adults, children have to learn English. It's a mandatory in like almost every major country in the world. So it's like a burning problem for parents and children.
Language, technology, innovative communication here at South Summit. Great questions. As you can see, the category finalists are working hard for the approval of the VIP judges here at South Summit. You could call it a sweat equity. And the judges are now working hard to choose the category winners. So let's give them some me time to make up their minds. Still to come, we have the CEO of Zoom, and we have the man himself, Antonio Banderas. COVID has brought the future forward. According to some, the education sector has seen 10 years of innovation in a matter of months. So we're going to talk to Diego del Alcázar Benjumea, Executive Vice President at IE University, and James Lamont, the Director of Strategic Partnership at the Financial Times and the Chairman of Headspring, the FT's executive education arm, which is a joint venture with IE Business School. So we connect with the Prado Museum here in Madrid.
Hello, Diego. It's nice to see you. You look as if you're in a very interesting room in Madrid. Can you tell me a little about it?
Hello, James. How are you? To be honest, this is not a digital background, you know. So today I have the immense luck to be standing in front of Las Meninas of Diego Velázquez at the Prado Museum in Madrid. This is one of the most famous and controversial artworks of all time, as it completely changes the rules of perspective.
I should say that I'm talking to you from the FT office in London. Not quite as dramatic and cultured a background as you have in Madrid, but it's great to see you, and thank you for that introduction. How do you think the pandemic is changing the traditional classroom model?
Thank you very much, James. Indeed, COVID-19 has been a terrible virus that has inflicted a lot of pain in our society in general, and obviously to the education sector in particular. But it has also been an enormous source of transformation for our society. Many children and their parents, as well as many college students, have suffered the consequences of the lack of preparation of many schools or academic institutions. The interesting thing is that technology was there at their immediate disposal. As you mentioned, Zooms or Teams or Google and many other platforms already existed before the pandemic. And the school managers and faculty have been quick and flexible enough to replicate the class in a digital mode. The problem is that replicating something from physical to online inevitably diminishes the experience. As Sanjay Sharma from Open Learning of MIT and Michael Horn, professor at Harvard University and co-author of Disrupting the Class, told me in a panel at Enlightened 2 years ago, we should use technology not to substitute, but to exponentially improve the learning experience.
Some parents, including myself, are worried that children become reluctant to study if their academic experience is via a computer and via a computer screen and not in a classroom with their friends and their teacher and their normal environment. How can technology get around this?
I think education has been a way to standardize knowledge and skills. Students have to pass common exams and learn through the same process. However, this neglects a basic fact. Humans are diverse and they learn in many different ways. This was highlighted by Howard Gardner and his theory of multiple intelligences. For example, some people have stronger emotional intelligence and thus will be better entrepreneurs and leaders. But traditional education is more difficult for them as it primes mostly analytical intelligence. The great contribution of technology applied to education is personalization, customization. Each student can maximize their potential for learning since technology may enhance their distinctive forms of intelligences and skills. At the same time, technology will also allow to better measure the impact and the results of education at an individual and societal level, thanks to learning analytics. Furthermore, as technology develops and becomes a commodity, educational platforms and apps will become cost-efficient and sustainable, which is essential for disrupting the educational traditional model.
So, how is IE University addressing these complex issues? And what's your strategy at the university regarding the disruption of education?
Our response to the disruption of education is liquid learning. What is liquid learning? Well, liquid learning is a transformational and interactive educational experience that transcends single methodologies and platforms, blending together physical, digital, and natural environments, so that the experience of our students is designed to obtain a unique world-class education. For example, one of our students is going to be able to attend a big data class remotely while he is working in a social innovation project in Cambodia. Meanwhile, other students are attending the same class face-to-face in Madrid synchronously. But one of the students in the face-to-face class of Madrid is having difficulties with statistics, and the professor has chosen an app game so he can practice in any place at any time. Another student is currently in San Francisco, understanding better a technology he would like to use for his venture after his MBA. Later in the day, he will be socializing with his IE colleagues by playing, for example, a Fortnite private tournament that IE has organized for its students. This new way of understanding education is basically a new way of understanding the world we live in. Corporations are actually moving in this direction. Remote work is here to stay. Let me ask you something, James. How are you envisioning how corporations need to be addressing the disruption on education?
Well, I'd like to say that we are proponents of liquid learning too, and learning very fast in this new era. So at Headspring, we are seeing a big shift towards virtual learning, as are many others. Over the past few months, learning and development teams have had to respond to lots of business critical issues in a different way to how they were used to in the past. So lots of executives are faced with a very new situation. We're seeing a big surge in demand for development in new leadership skills. For instance, managing remote teams, more agile decision-making processes, how to serve clients through new and different channels, even how to manage employee stress and well-being. These are all things relevant to me here at the FT, but I imagine these are being experienced in boardrooms and management teams right across the world. And learning some of these skills could make a big difference in a short time. And I think Headspring is in a place to help leadership teams in that way. The challenge for business is how to engage entire organizations, especially when they're now working remotely, and getting them to work around common goals and filling capability gaps. Learning organizations will be better at doing this than many others that aren't. So I think Headspring has a big opportunity with this new era, and we're here to serve these needs and enhance these skills. some tech companies are designing courses to prepare their students for possible future employment with them. After 6 months of this kind of studying for tech skills, students can command salaries of $80,000 in the US. With these kind of developments, what are the roles of universities going to be in the future? Will they still be so relevant for tech students?
Higher education specifically is not here only to fulfill a career path. Obviously, higher education is aimed to maximize human potential, giving us the skills, capabilities, and attitudes to access the labor market successfully. But also, higher education aims to maximize human potential by giving us an interest-free space that nurtures respect of oneself and respect of others, by understanding that people see things differently and that those differences enrich us. Universities allow us to escape from utilitarianism and give us perspective. They nurture our knowledge and attraction to our history and art, for example. In addition, education is not just an academic experience. Rather, education is mostly a social showcase. University allows us to socially interact, getting to know ourselves by meeting new friends that are different or similar to us, not just learning from each other and with each other, but also creating emotional bonds for life.
That's very reassuring to hear all the advantages and enjoyments that students can have at universities. And as you say, it's a function of society and opening up the mind and not simply about careers. I think that's a very important point. Diego, thank you very much for speaking to me. Enjoy your evening and enjoy looking at Las Meninas.
Thank you very much, James. I hope that you can come to Spain very soon and will come to the Prado Museum to enjoy Las Meninas and these other amazing Velázquez pictures I'm surrounded with. So I hope to see you very, very soon. And thank you for your time and for your very interesting insights and questions.
And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, James. See you soon.
Bye, Diego.
And thank you, James, and thank you, Diego. I've heard of a liquid lunch, but liquid learning is a new one to me. So folks at home, are you excited to find out the winner of education category for South Summit 2020? I sure as hell am. And so is our friend Nacho Mateo, who is joining us virtually to announce this important category winner. Nacho, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, William. Hello, everyone. Well, first of all, my apologies, guys, for not being able to be there physically with all of you at the studio today. But yesterday, I received a call from the medical center informing me that a person close to me has tested positive for COVID. So, of course, I'm now on quarantine at home until I get my results. So, shit happens. But the good point is that the fantastic edition of South Summit 2020 is ready for unexpected situations. So here I am. So let's go for the big moment. The winner of the education vertical is Buddy AI. Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations to Buddy AI and Nacho. Thank you so much for being here and joining us. And we wish you the best and hope you get better soon, as we do for everybody who's watching and everybody who's watching from their homes because of this situation. Buddy AI goes home with this magnificent madroño. And we have been learning about the future of health and the future of education, but now it is time to learn about the future of work. There has probably never been a more appropriate time to be truly radical about how we approach our professional lives. From Zoom meetings to virtual water coolers, change is happening faster than ever to the ways we work and the tech we use to do it. But what's coming next? We're gonna find out. But first, Let's learn about cracking the code of Silicon Valley and the importance of diversifying tech with two gentlemen who know about the incredible power of diversity. Ali Petrovi is an Iranian-American entrepreneur and an angel investor best known as a co-founder of Code.org, I Like and Link Exchange. He was an early advisor at Dropbox and backed Airbnb, Dropbox, Facebook, and Uber. Debo Olasebiakan, I hope I pronounced that right, Debo. If not, please forgive me, is the founder and CTO at Gigster, a platform that helps companies expand their ability to innovate by building dynamic teams made up of top global talent who create industry-changing custom software. Guys, it's over to you.
Ali, really good to see you. It's been a while.
You too. So good to see you again, Debo.
Awesome. The past few months have been really interesting for everyone all over the world. I'm just curious how you've been adapting to COVID and remote work.
Yeah, it's been great. I'd say that the pandemic has broken down a lot of barriers and a lot of geographic barriers, for example. And I think we're going to emerge from it stronger than before. It's forced me to face things that I might have been insecure about before, like working without an office and things like that. At the end of the day, it's going to make us a stronger company.
And like fundraising especially is one of these things where people assume you have to be really close and you have to kind of be there physically. How has that evolved? How have you seen that play out? Is it better, worse, different in interesting ways? Or?
Yeah, I think we've enjoyed a special advantage because Neo's entire philosophy is to build long-term relationships, sometimes for years before somebody might start a company. And so often the entrepreneurs that we're backing are people we've known since they were in college 2 years ago.
Yeah, and that's interesting because ever since I've known you, it seems like this has been really core to what you believe, to just like personal relationships and just the power of relationships and people and community. Can you just tell us a little bit where that comes from and why that's so important?
Yeah, I remember when I was 26 when I sold my first startup. And at that time, my twin brother was starting his first company. And he asked me what were the 3 most important lessons that I had learned that I could pass on to him as a new founder of a company. And I thought through all of our mistakes or best decisions, and I summarized it as number 1, hire great people. Number 2, hire great people. Number 3, hire great people.
Great.
You've heard me say this before, and this mantra of hiring great people is something that it extends beyond hiring. I've applied that to almost anything I do, and certainly in terms of investing, I've made so many investing mistakes, and oftentimes when I look back, the things I wish I had the things that I wish I had invested in are the deals where I knew somebody was brilliant and I had too much hubris and didn't see the business idea or didn't invest in them because I didn't believe in their idea, even though I knew the person was great. And the things I regret investing in are the things where I might have fallen in love with the idea and not been as rigorous about vetting the person. Neo is all about investing in people, and it's about building long-term human relationships, evaluating people, and putting that front and center.
Do you have any kind of specific stories maybe to share where, either you missed something because you didn't pay enough attention to the people or the other way around?
Oh, yeah, I have plenty of those. Some salient ones, again, when I was 26 and had just sold my first startup, there was a younger engineer who worked for us as a contractor named Max Levchin, and he was brilliant. I mean, anytime he entered the building, people, would be like, "Oh my gosh, it's Max." Everyone knew Max was starting a startup, but the original business idea for PayPal was, wasn't as well formed. It was a little bit gimmicky, and I could have had a chance to invest in that company and didn't because of that idea didn't seem as well formed. And similar time period, one of my smartest friends from college emailed a group of us saying that he was finally going to do the Silicon Valley thing and do a startup with his friends Larry and Sergey, and he was going to be the first employee of Google. Could anyone like myself provide advice or early funding or so on? And Google had no like business plan or business model initially. It was like a great algorithm and basically didn't engage at all. And that's certainly something I I regret.
yeah. And that certainly will. Those two examples certainly seem like they were enough to really drive home that lesson, right?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So what kind of advice do you have for people who are not necessarily Silicon Valley natives, who are outsiders trying to break in or trying to build a network, trying to get to meet great people, to build these long-term relationships with? How do people break in?
Yeah, well, this idea of breaking in, I think it's interesting because the era of COVID is changing things, right? I think because now Silicon Valley is itself expanding out. Yeah, Silicon Valley is not a place to break into anymore. I think I spoke at the very first South Summit, so it's really exciting to be back here. And I think I said something there where like the statement I made then was that Silicon Valley has two meanings. One meaning is it's a place, but the other meaning is it's an idea and a approach to doing things. And I think that's still true, and it makes no difference if you're here in California or in New York or Hawaii or Europe. I think what matters are the networks of people, and those connections have remained, I think, as important, if not more important than ever. So in terms of how to network and how to break into the network, I'd say on that also I have somewhat of a different view. I actually don't like to use the word networking as a verb because it implies trying to gain something for yourself and it almost has a selfish tone to it. I prefer to think of how to lift up others and look for how can you help other people. You can always find somebody that can use your help, and I've generally tried to have that as my own sort of guiding principle with networking, is looking for, in every interaction I try to give more than I receive, and although that might seem counterintuitive, I think in the long run that is also how to benefit yourself the most. And certainly for me, by far the greatest reward is to see somebody who I lifted up in some way grow to become much bigger than myself in time. And I've been really privileged to have had many examples of that in my career.
Awesome.
Hopefully, including one right here. And not that you've ever needed any help, but we invested in you. You had already had a successful first startup. Can you tell me a little bit about like what was your path from university to Silicon Valley?
I left Cornell. I left my PhD in physics to come out to Silicon Valley, and I didn't really know anyone here. So I completely agree with what you were saying about kind of building value and looking at how you could help others. When I came to Silicon Valley, I would have to just get started doing things. And if I did things and built cool things, built useful things, I would attract others to me, and especially if those things were helpful to others. So that's kind of how I got started, and I built a company worked on a company called Gigster that helps it's a marketplace for connecting software developers who want work to companies looking for these software developers. And my latest project, latest company I'm working on, interestingly, I actually met my co-founder in my PhD at Cornell. We were in the same physics photonics group at Cornell, and we've known each other for over a decade. And so it's kind of a combination of long-term relationships and just adding value and doing things. It looks like Neo does a really, really good job of like helping folks in college really harness these relationships and become better versions of themselves, and just like really learn what it is that they want to be, and that's been super fascinating to me. So maybe you can speak a little bit about that. I've been fortunate to have really strong collaborator from college, but I think you have hundreds of similar stories. So maybe you can share a little bit about how that works.
NEO, the heartbeat of NEO is around college students, and revolves around an annual cycle where we interview hundreds of students from all over North America and try to identify what we think are the top 50 or so most promising computer science students. That age is that when someone is 20, 21 years old, there's no ceiling. The potential is, potentially unlimited, is limited only by their imagination and maybe the skills they might have developed in terms of technical skills. And college, as you mentioned, is also just such a unique environment for people to form relationships and to be pushed by each other to excel. And I very much believe that you can spot potential at a very young age, and I have made it the goal of my life and of my firm to identify really high potential people and then help them maximize and realize that potential.
And what do you see NEO 10 years from now?
10 years from now. So I don't want it to become much bigger, so to speak. I mean, this already feels big. I think I hope it to remain very prestigious and very intimate, and but also very meritocratic. So we're not selecting people based on their pedigree of where their diploma is from or what college. Our interview process is based on technical skills, and in fact we go through extra effort to identify people from backgrounds that might be underrepresented or untapped. We go through extra effort to try to interview more women and more people of color, because I think of it as, I hope for the NEO community to mirror what the future of Silicon Valley is going to be.
So Ali, thanks so much for being here. Thanks.
Thank you, Debo. It's great to be back at South Summit.
Yep.
And it's always great to have you with us too, Ali, and thank you, Debo. I'm sure you know that a lot of the secret sauce of Silicon Valley is the networking and having access to the right people at the right time. But how can you connect with the right people when so many events and so much travel has been canceled? Well, I have a good tip for you. Check out the South Summit 2020 online platform, and you can connect with people who will change your life. So just do it. Just go and check it out. So let's continue with the Future of Work segment. And we start, of course, by meeting our two category finalists, who are Claude9 and Kudo. Okay, let's welcome again Claude9, a platform that connects photographers with brands through AI worldwide. In addition, they eliminate manual processes and keep the uploading of high-res photos on the platform, as well as the selection, editing instructions, and downloading. And we welcome from Spain to go into the virtual boxing ring and go for a knockout, the founder of Claude9, Isabel Gonzalez. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Isabel from Cloud9. We deliver world-class photo shoots in 24 hours. With the explosion of e-commerce, digital marketing, and social media, brands cannot use stock photos, so they need to customize their photo shoots to promote their products and services, because 75% of their online shoppers make a purchase based on photos. The problem that we are solving. This is Jane, marketing manager of a global brand. She needs to find photographers across 6 different countries to shoot their products within 24 hours. She has no time to search and compare photographers across multiple cities and countries. The production houses or ad agencies can do it, but they tend to be very expensive, up to 3 times more, and they take 1 to 2 months to turn around time. So she is really desperate. The solution is Cloud9, an AI-driven online platform that matches photographers with brands within seconds to shoot worldwide class photos in 24 hours at 60% of production costs. We use AI and machine learning to solve these problems. How does it work? Go to Cloud9, you book a photo shoot, we match the photographers with the AI and machine learning in the back end. The client selects the photos and downloads them. So eliminating all the Dropbox, WeTransfer, and Google Sheet manual processes. Cloud9 takes 30% commission of each transaction, which translates by 2024 into $124 million. The potential market is massive. Every single business needs a photo shoot to promote their products or services online, worldwide. Competitive advantage is obviously with Cloud9 and in automation and the scalability, because we offer a global service. Our team, we're a team of 5 people. Myself, I've launched cheaptickets.sg, an online travel agency, and Ski-Doo and GoBear, making it profitable within 3 years. Raj has over 20 years of experience managing $20 million projects, and Edu launched 2 startups in the past and leading up a technological company. The traction has been fantastic, $1.2 million in sales. We've worked with over 150 companies across 15 countries, and we work with global brands from Nivea to Visa and so on. Growth month on month despite COVID, which is a fantastic news. Our repeat business is very high, it's 91% at a 0 CPA. And there's a massive market that we see in the future as well, also going to other verticals and future segments. We're looking for an investment. We're closing a seed round. We have a lead investor on board, which is SOSV, with over $700 million fund. And we are looking for investors right now. So please join us to become, the leading platform for on-demand branded photos. Thank you.
And that's an awesome pitch from Isabel from Cloud9, but will it be enough to do a KO in the ring with our virtual judges or with our physical judges? Can I see any hands raised up for La Nave, for Isabel, for Cloud9? Do we have any questions from our panel of judges? We have a question here on our virtual panel. Janique, we're going to fly you over to our big screen, and you can ask the first question to Cloud9 to Isabel. What is your question, Janique?
Hey, Isabel. Great pitch first. So I'm completely with you. I think the market is huge and the model is super scalable. However, as you mentioned on one of your slides, there are a bunch of players who are selling a similar value prop. So if, in a couple of words or in a sentence, what makes you unique and why would you win that race to become the biggest player out there?
Yes, it's a good point, Yannick. We mainly focus to source the photographers within seconds with the technology. So that means we use AI, machine learning, and tag image recognition to source the photographers immediately. And that is, sort of where we specialize in.
Okay.
Awesome, not even 30 seconds from Isabel. Yannick putting on the pressure. Yannick Oswald, investor at Mangrove Capital Partners, an early backer of Skype, Wix, WalkMe, K-Health, Red Points, etc., and is backing ambition entrepreneurs all over Europe and Israel. So, do we have somebody with a second question for Isabel and Cloud9? No more questions for Isabel. I guess she doesn't have to prove anything else. It's an amazing project. Good luck to Isabel then. Very interesting questions. Thank you. We have our invited expert here also from Telefonica to talk about this further. Miguel Arias is the Global Entrepreneurship Director at Telefonica and head of Wyra. Not only that, he is also an entrepreneur himself. Miguel, you must have a strong visibility on what is happening with the entrepreneurship ecosystem during this COVID times. Is this a good time to start a company?
Hello, everybody. It's really great to be here. I'm really sorry I cannot be there in person, but we're going to have another time to do so. So following your question, we have a strong visibility at Wyra around the ecosystem because we have more than 800 startups in the portfolio. And we hear this a lot, like now is the best time ever to start a new company because of the crisis. And we hear a lot this example of 2008, when they say companies like Airbnb, Uber, or WhatsApp were started. So if it happened then, can it not be now a good time for that? But when we think about 2008, what really happened underneath the surface was not the crisis. What happened was that mobile phones became ubiquitous. Everybody had this very powerful device in their hands. And location data services were also everywhere. So this is how companies like Uber or WhatsApp could start. Now, when we think about 2020, I see something similar happening. We see this fundamental tectonic shift in a few technologies that can be very relevant for disruption. For example, we have AI, artificial intelligence, being used professionally almost everywhere right now. We also have Internet of Things, all these little connected things which are also intelligence thanks to AI. And we have also the power of decentralized networks thanks to blockchain, and this great promise around 5G and low latency and this great connectivity. So I think all of this is creating this perfect storm for disruption, which I think is going to create tremendous value in the future. And if we think which startups can benefit from that in these times, I think there are the companies which are mostly cloud-based, which are using online tools to sell or to connect with the customers, and who are purely digital, and maybe even also remote first, right? So I think that in all this environment, a telco like Telefonica can play a very important role to foster entrepreneurship and to enable disruption, which is going to lead to a societal change. So I think this is more or less my opinion, and I'm going to pass it back to you in the studio. Thank you very much.
Joining us from Huayra, thank you so much, Miguel. Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. And as you can see, South Summit is a world of opportunity for the entrepreneurship and startup ecosystems. Speaking of which, it's time to get to know two of the main players in startup supporting ecosystem. They are Carlos Ventura, General Manager at the Banco Sabadell, and Miguel Vicente, serial entrepreneur and chairman of Barcelona Tech City. They will share some of the insights on the importance of relationship building and collaboration between startups and corporates, and their optimistic vision of the ecosystem. So here we are, connecting with Barcelona.
Hello, South Summit. So it's a pleasure for me to be here at the Pier 1 in Barcelona. I don't know if you remember, I met you, and it's a funny story, for me. And it's not the first time that I explained that. I met you 10 years ago. I don't know if you remember that.
Of course, I remember.
Okay, so it was good, because it was a moment that I'm talking about the last crisis, that it was a very deep crisis and with a lot of difficulties. And then I think that you had new investors from the United States.
That was the moment where an American company was acquiring Let's Bonus.
Yes.
And I remember perfectly that they asked me to talk with someone that could give them information about Spain and how it is going the recovery, and giving them trust on the Spanish economy. And you were key at this time. I think I will have to thank you always.
Because I think
you are help selling the company.
Because I think that this is the style that you need to do business, And talking about bank activity, I think that these moments are the moments that you think, well, I'm proud about my job, I think that yes. And what's your opinion about the startup ecosystem, and especially in this moment, that it's a moment of difficult moments, but a moment of opportunity, I think?
Well, I think that we are in front of a really big opportunity, We've seen that in months, we've seen a new wave of digitalization, that in months we've done probably what would have happened in 5 years. It has been a really strong new wave of digitalization, and that has created really big opportunities for startups. This lockdown period has created big opportunities especially I would say in low-touch economy, in sectors such as healthcare, such as education, SaaS services, helping startups, helping companies to be on the online world.
Oh yes, I agree, and I think that it is a moment of opportunity. It's a moment of a lot of difficulties as well, So, and 2 comments. First of all, so we have a different information.
Yeah.
And so you can understand the trends, and I think that this moment, I'm talking about opportunities and the startups in general, so I think that we need to understand the future trends, because I think that we are living some kind of asymmetric crisis. So companies that are evolving pretty well so far right now, and on the other hand, companies that are suffering a lot. Not only startups, but especially when we talk about the startups. And I think that in this moment, try to understand the landscape, the trends, the future, And it's very important, no? And I think that if we talk about startups, so very good moment. A good moment, because it's a moment of opportunity, and really I think that. So I can imagine this European program, so it's very focused on so energy, but digitalization.
Yeah.
So this kind of projects that so are projects that they want to do the same. So they want to sell, I don't know, cars or anyway, but in a different way. And I think that this is the digitalization.
I think one of the changes that we're seeing now in the ecosystem probably is the way that entrepreneurs and startups are looking at raising capital. No, or probably we are moving from what I would say a race for being a unicorn for a different kind of animal that is more a camel.
I think that it's crucial.
And how do you see as a corporate this new open innovation escape? I mean, all corporates now are using different tools to be really near to entrepreneurs, no? Either accelerating platforms, like for example this building where we are recording today in Barcelona, in the Beer Barcelona Tech City, where they live 100 startups, but they live here as well 10 corporate labs. So this magic happens between entrepreneurs and corporates, and also which is the important play that are going to take what we call the corporate venturing capital. I mean the VC is created by corporates to really be near entrepreneurs and make happen. We are talking about unicorns and camel. Now we can talk about the dance between Gazilla and the elephant. So how we keep this spirit. So you've done so much about that in Bank Sabadell. You've done accelerating. You have created many years of fund. Now you created corporate venturing capital like InnoCells. Yeah. So how do you see this dance of the Gazilla and the elephant?
So
sorry for the elephant.
No. I think that it's a nice way to explain that. No, I think that, well, as an idea, it's a win-win agreement or partnership, but it's exactly like you explained that, in my opinion. So both parts should understand the other, and should understand that is a very profitable partnership, but also a very risky partnership, because I mean that if you don't understand that this company is a valuable company because it's a startup, then you are killing this startup. And on the other hand, if the startup doesn't understand that the other one is a company that has its trends, but could help them to do something, then it's difficult to obtain the synergies that I think that you can obtain when you talk about open innovation. No? So we have different examples, and I'm very happy when I think about, for example, Paycomet, talking about payments.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for me to imagine how we can evolve in payments without this kind of agreement. But for example, well, a common investment, no? Nemuro, for example, that it's more than open innovation, because it's open innovation, it's a co-investment, so very nice story, no? And another one that, for example, is Nomo, no? Nomo is a startup that was created to help small business, and I think that it's very interesting for us, because it's I don't know. A good offering for our customer, but it's not enough important for us to invest a lot of money and a lot of talent there, because we have our day-to-day. No? So I think that it's very interesting.
Yeah, good experience that we share together probably is Antai, no? Where in Antai, I mean, Bank Sabadell and Mutua Madrileña have invested, and since 2 years ago, since then, we have created 8 companies in the insurtech and fintech space. And for example, you have later investing in Nemuro, leading the round, and Mutua Madrileña has done the same in Singular Cover, another insurtech. So I think that we are together starting to take the advantage of this dance that we were talking before. No? And I think that's the key thing, no? When this magic happens, we put together all the speed and the desire to break rules that they have, the entrepreneurs, together with the corporates that they want to transform their business quickly. No?
Yeah, agree. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, so Miguel, thank you very much for this minutes with you. Always is very interesting, and I think that if we have more or less the same conversation in 1 year, I hope, but I think that we'll be very happy looking back and looking forward as well, and thinking that it's going to be the explosion of the startups here in Spain. And it's not an illusion. I think that is the moment. So it's very difficult to evolve when you are living a good life. But if we are in the middle of the crisis, is the moment.
Completely. It's really a good moment to be an entrepreneur and to disrupt a business, to change the rules of a value chain. I'm really pleased to be here, and so goodbye.
Yes, goodbye.
Goodbye, South Summit.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoy it, and really pleased to meet you all.
Okay, that's right. Goodbye.
And the explosion of startups here in South Summit. Thank you, Carlos and Miguel. Okay, it is almost Banderas o'clock, but not quite yet. We've still got time to meet the CEO of Zoom in just a few minutes. But first, get ready for the last pitch of the day. Who is going to try and knock your virtual socks off? Kudo is a web conferencing platform with a live translation in multiple languages, powered by professional human interpreters and assisted by AI. Kudo makes multilingual meetings possible and seamless. From the USA, please welcome their CEO and co-founder, Fardad Zabetian.
Hi, Fardad Zabetian here, founder and CEO of Kudo. Kudo is my third company. Prior to Kudo, I started 2 other companies. Both of them focus on providing hardware solutions for language interpretation for multilingual meetings, in-room, in-person meetings. In 2016, I asked myself, what's next? Because, for example, this room is one of the projects that I completed with my previous companies, which is the United Nations General Assembly. So I asked myself, what's next? I see the need for decentralized and online meetings when they needed language support. So I team up with the experts to work on a proof of concept for providing a platform, a web conferencing platform with live language translation. Kudo's mission is to remove language barrier for businesses. We spent about 2 years of developing the platform, building the community of 8,000 interpreters and partners that we can have studios throughout the globe with different time zones. Web conferencing is already a very hot category, and multilingual web conferencing is a new subcategory that Kudo created and is leading in that area. We have generate revenue in our first year being live. We also on track to have $6 million ARR in 2020. We are already on track to be profitable this year, and how we make money is by selling subscription based on number of hours the client is using our platform. We do have competitions, however, most of them are focused on live event, where our focus is in meetings, web conferencing, and online event that they need language interpretation. We do have domain expertise and build a product as a software, as a self-service solution. We have a number of high-profile clients, and as you see, they are very diverse, from Fortune 1000 to organizations, associations, as well as executive education market. Here's one of our clients, Facebook and AWS. As you see, Facebook is using our product to provide live language interpretation for Keynote, delivering 15 language interpretation for the Mark Zuckerberg keynote speech, as well as 8 other sessions.
For the last 15 years or so, we've focused on building Facebook and Instagram into the digital.
des équivalents numériques pour Facebook et Instagram de ces places publiques.
We recently closed our 6 million seed round that are spending in hiring, growth, and product. We have a global team, 50 people working out of 12 countries, and we overall speak 20 different languages. Thank you so much.
Who is going to be asking? We have several raised hands here. Irene Gomez, come with me. Well, let's go to the yellow screen. What is the first question for Kudos Fardad?
Thank you. Nice speech for that. Indeed, I think it's something that we are now executing, and it's clear we need to do things in a different way. And South Summit is an example of how to do things in a different way. My question is about which do you think is your technological advantage you have in your platform? And if you can share with us, which is your new milestone in terms of features moving forward this platform.
Thank you for the question. So we believe that video conferencing is not one size fits all. So really our domain expertise with multilingual meetings is our key and the barrier to entry for other platforms. Our advantage is really moderated meetings. So intergovernment associations, when people, they want to have really meaningful conversations with their audience in their own language. And it's both technology and a gig economy behind it.
TikTok Fardad even is great at interpreting time. 30 seconds are up. Thank you for your first question. Do we have another question for Fardad? We have a question over there in our physical panel of judges. It is Jose Minguez, the head of innovation market Iberia from Endesa. Jose is responsible for the application of new technologies and market trends to the internal process for the business. He is very future forward and all over blockchain. Jose, how are you doing? What is your question for Fardad?
Congratulations, because I really believe the future of work comes with more international meetings of every kind, and I think your startup helps a lot. My question will be, how do you intend to approach the B2B market? Because you know this is sometimes very difficult to get. So what is your strategic plan there?
Yeah, 100% of our clients are B2B, and we have had 0 outbound activities, and we're signing up about 12 enterprise level clients on a monthly basis, and this is increasing month over month. It's very much from NATO all the way to Ferrari. Anybody who has partners, teams, clients that are spread globally, they want to communicate with their teams in their own language.
And as Ferrari is all about time too, so is Fardad. Thank you very much, Fardad. Great answers. Now that I have you here, could I ask you a few questions like how has your relationship with the startup community evolved this year?
Well, I think this year is having like two important phases. Like everyone, when you ask them what did you did September 11, they remember. I think we are all going to remember what we did on March. And I think at that moment, here we have two very good advantages that have been said before, is that we are a digital native company, and of course we have a very important service. So we have had really plans to crisis. So this made us that 7,000 people went digital in 2 days. We went home in 2 days, and without any problem. There were like 9,000 laptops being bought in 1 week. So you can imagine how hard is that. And we start to work the following day. So, and this was translated to the startups. But in this moment of like everyone was thinking like this is going to go in 2 weeks, we felt like that. People start to like go crazy with Zoom, Teams, every kind of video conferences, and we had like 10 pitches of startups every day. It was crazy because everybody was locked down, and I think that moment like everyone got crazy. After that moment,
yeah, that's what I was going to say, because that is more or less the past and the present of what's been going on. What do you see for the future?
Well, what I see for the future is a hybrid mixture. I think it's very important. Digital people are coming digital. We are going to keep having a lot of meetings that we had before in physical to digital platforms, but we need to touch. We need to see the people. We need this nonverbal communication to really get trust on the people. And I think this is very important. And we're seeing this now that have passed a few months. And I see, of course, the things you have done. We have got 5 years in a few months. Startups are very digital. They are very digital native. So they didn't have this problem big corporations have in some industries. They went through all these paths very, very fast. And so they are really good for adapting. So they have adapted very well, and they are going to keep adapting in the following years. And I think here you can see how important are the Agile squads, because Agile squads make you to adapt to this change very fast. And the projects that we were going on is in 2 or 3 weeks in this time they switch to the new products and services. And to implement the startups, I think this is going to be the tendency for the next following years.
Thank you very much, Jose. It's all about the switch from physical to digital, and it's all about startups here at South Summit 100. So awesome. Now we're going to let our hard-working jury take a break to finalize their thoughts and compare notes to decide who goes through to the grand finale on Thursday. As I've been promising you all afternoon, it's time to meet Eric Yuan, the Chinese-American CEO and founder of Zoom Video Communications. Their share price grew from $73 to $500 in the past 9 months, and Eric owns 22% of the company. So, do the math. Actually, I can tell you that Eric made over $12 billion since March, and now ranks amongst the 400 richest people in America. I'm sure his story will inspire you, as it does me. Eric is going to be talking with Didak Lee, the co-founder of Galdana Ventures, a venture capital fund of funds that invests in some of the best VCs of US, Asia, Israel, and Europe. Good afternoon, guys. How's it going? Take it away.
Thank you so much for having us here today. We are so excited to be here. We are connected via Zoom, of course, with the founder and CEO of the company. Eric, 你好，我很高兴今天跟你在这。可是我们跟英文。Everybody knows how big is Zoom and how successful is the company over the years. But not everybody knows the person and the genius behind Zoom. Today, we'll try to change this and tell the audience about the story of one of the best entrepreneurs of our time and my idol as well. The first time I heard about you, Eric, it was from Jim from Maven Ventures. One of your early stage investors. Jim described you as one of the most humble and approachable entrepreneurs in the Valley. How would you describe yourself?
So yeah, Jim is our great early stage investor, also a great friend. By the way, the name Zoom is also from him. So I'm very lucky. I live in Silicon Valley. There's so many great leaders, entrepreneurs. Over the past more than 20 years, I learned a lot from other successful leaders and CEOs and entrepreneurs. One is just hard work. Always think about how you can work harder than any other competitor, right? Another thing is, don't be arrogant. Stay humble. Right? And, that's a only way for you to keep making progress.
How did you convince him to invest in your company when the market was so crowded for them?
I did not talk about a market or competitor. and share the story with all those early stage investors about, I talked with many other friends, asked them, what's your experience when you use other products? I got a very consistent feedback. None of them felt very happy to use other products. With that, I told them, hey, there's a market opportunity.
And what was the most difficult time in your career, and how did you overcome it?
One of the most difficult time is a year before I left Cisco and Cisco WebEx. I came to Silicon Valley in 1997, joined WebEx as one of the first several founding engineers. Later on, I became vice president of engineering. I had emotional connection, right? From very small WebEx until we went public and sold to Cisco. I was there for several years. So every time when I thought about leaving Cisco or Cisco WebEx, that's pretty, tough moment.
I remember when I visited Zoom with you 1 year ago, and I remember that you told me how important is the company culture for you. What would be your advice to any entrepreneur that wants to build a strong company culture?
When I started, the number one thing is, just myself at that time, you got to write it down, or at least think about what's your company culture, what's your company's value. Because, startup a company is a long journey. You really cannot achieve overnight success, right? So you got to focus on the culture and the value. And then at Zoom, our company culture is to deliver happiness. Our company value is care. You want to hire those employees who can fit very well to your company culture and value. That's the number one important thing, right? It's just write down company culture and value, stay focused on that, and then be patient. It's a long journey. Every day, keep working hard, stay humble, and that's it. Yeah.
What's your daily routine?
When I work from home, it's pretty simple. I, eat, sleep, and Zoom. That's pretty much, daytime. And in the evening, and I have 15 minutes in my calendar, and I just, don't check email, don't make a phone call, no Zoom call. I call that thinking meditation. I will think, if I start over today, what I should do differently? Are there any things I should have done a better job? Right? And do I miss anything? Right? Essentially, you can summarize everyday activity to self-criticize and to help you, to help myself, get better. Every day I'm doing that.
Yeah, Zoom has experienced an outstanding growth in the recent years, even prior to the COVID. And what has been the greatest challenge and what has been the greatest reward in scaling your company?
So in terms of greatest challenge, I would say, so every day, right, you are facing all kinds of different new problems. How to balance, let's say, between the growth and the process optimization or cost control or profitability, right? Between when you hire employees, how to balance and the quantity and quality, right? When you focus on growth, how to balance between the domestic growth cost, a company headquartered in the California, US, and also the international expansion. How to balance the feature requests from enterprise customers and SMB customers, right? I think every day we got to think about the balance. It's like take this pandemic crisis, for example. We have a lot of new users, right? How to balance, the request between our existing big enterprise customers versus all the new customers, new users all over the world, right? I think that's the biggest challenge because it's no great answer to that. You got to think about how to optimize, right? That's the biggest challenge. I think the greatest reward is we worked so hard over the past several years. When this pandemic crisis hit us, we feel very excited and proud for all Zoom employees to have an opportunity to help the world, to help people stay connected.
Has the COVID crisis given you new insights into the market? And what did you learn from it?
Yeah, one thing I learned, well, actually, we knew that. We truly believe video is a new voice. And video communication is going to become a mainstream service. And one thing I learned is that finally, I think all of us, we understand, a tool like this can really help people stay connected. So, and we got to accelerate the growth, meaning we got to have more and more innovations, because our vision is we truly believe video communication like Zoom in the future can deliver a better experience than face-to-face meetings. But we're not there yet. That's why we got to keep working as hard as we can to add more innovations, like say you are at home, I'm at home, I want to shake hands with you. You do not feel my hand shaking, right? In the future you will, or even if you drink a cup of coffee, I also can enjoy smell remotely, right? Or if we speak a different language with AI and the real-time language translation, we also can understand each other. All those technologies we have, but we are not there yet, but we think the future is bright. Those cool technologies, will be added to Zoom. And also, video communication will become mainstream, meaning anywhere, with any device, just one click, you can talk with anyone in the world. You feel like you are in the same Starbucks coffee, right? And no difference. I think that word, hopefully in 10 years, Zoom will be the first company to deliver that vision.
Thank you, Eric. Personally, I believe that you are the true definition of success.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you, guys. That was certainly food for thought. Okay, are you ready for Antonio Banderas time? Easy, Tiger, he's not quite ready for you. So hold on a few minutes longer, because first we get to find out which startup has won the category of the future of work and gets to go through to battle for the grand prize on Thursday. To announce the category winner, please welcome Miguel Ángel Redondo, Counselor for Economy, Innovation, and Employment, Madrid City Hall. Miguel Ángel, come in here. It's good to see you.
Very good to see you. It's an honor to have this competition here in Madrid. You are all great. You are doing a great job. But congratulations to all, and well.
And you have that envelope there, yes, which contains our winner.
And the winner is Kudo.
Kudo is the winner. A great congratulations to Kudo. Thank you very much, Miguel. It's a pleasure to have you here in La Nave for South Summit 2020. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
And congratulations to Kudo. And that wraps up our startup competition for the day. We will say gracias and adios to all of our startups and amazing judges, many of whom we will be meeting again on South Summit Primetime mañana. Okay, right now we are going to go over to Malaga, where Maria Benjumea, founder and CEO of Spain's startup and South Summit, is maintaining a respectful social distance from the man himself. Antonio Banderas. Lights, camera, and action.
Hi guys, hi South Summit. Could you imagine with whom I am? This is great, Antonio, to be here with you. I'm so excited. It's impossible more exciting, because you are my and you are our hero. But I tell you that not only because you are the best actor, it's because you are the best entrepreneur, the more innovator, and you are disruptive. So what I want is to listen to you, to tell me, what are you? What is this Antonio Banderas entrepreneur and innovator?
It's actually very difficult for me to actually try to explain, what is my entrepreneur side, because I suppose that it comes out of necessity. When you just feel somehow trapped against the wall, you can do two things. You can stop the activity and become a victim of the situation and the circumstances, or you can just take steps ahead and reinvent yourself. And so I suppose that I have been doing that all through my life, from the beginning, especially from the beginning of my career as an actor. But in the actual circumstances in the world, it was very important just to see where are the cracks in the crisis that I can use just to get inside, another situation that allows me and the people that are working with me to develop, our profession, but in a completely different way, if you will. For example, when the crisis came on top of us, I was doing a movie. I was going to start another one. The movie that I was doing was interrupted. But my company, my theater company, was performing without me, obviously, in Barcelona with a huge success, playing in an American musical called A Chorus Line, very well known in Barcelona. So everybody was sent home. Everybody got to get to their houses. We were in confinement for a long time, approximately 4 months. So the idea that I had is, okay, I cannot do theater. I cannot put people in the theater. That was very complicated at the time. So I had an idea of having a division, a branch for television. But television is something that I can do. I have to be very careful because I have to put people together. And I was doing musical programs, monographics on pop artists, Spanish pop artists, and using, for example, symphonic orchestra. So how do you do that without the people getting contaminated? Well, you have to use the time. You have to be very, very disciplined. We install in the whole entire theater system to ozone gas, so we can actually disinfect the theater when the people was not working there. We have to, keep the distance, use the masks. We have to be very, very careful with all of that. But it's possible to do that? Yes. We found the conclusion that it's possible. So if it's possible, do it.
Yeah.
That was the secret. So we start working, and in 6 programs that we have recorded in 2.5 months, with symphonic orchestra, with a very strong and numerous, technical team, with all the musicians that came, even with audience, very reduced audience, 25, 30 people, because the program is done in a very specific way, no one person was contaminated, no one. I was contaminated, but outside of the theater, in other circumstances. So that is what I saw. When you are against the wall, when the circumstances and the situation put you against the wall, you have to reinvent yourself out of necessity. You can actually see this situation, this pandemic, as an opportunity to reinvent yourself, actually, and to don't get too lazy and too accommodated, to what you were living before. I think when all of this pass, and it's gonna pass, because I am totally convinced that what we are living these days is conjunctural, I think we are gonna come out of it better, appreciating more what we have, and taking more care of ourselves as we did before.
I can't agree more with you. I can't agree more with you. And you see how I said he's my hero, because when you are in a crisis, when it's a terrible situation, you have to reinvent yourself, and that's what you have done all your life. Not only now with the crisis, always you have done that. Tell me one thing, Antonio. I know that for doing all these things, your values, what are your values? Because your values, like an entrepreneur, like an innovator, like an actor.
Well, I don't know. I know the values that have been working for me. Perseverance, value very much sacrifice and working hard. Of course, there are people that they have an incredible talent, but if you don't actually put a lot of effort behind it, you know, the length of that talent is limited. You have to actually explore in yourself, in your own talent actually, and invest in it in order to expand it and make it bigger and solid and make it something that can affect others. That is in a of course positive way. So those are values that I used, and they were very useful to me, you know, during my whole entire life. Just to bet for that type of those are my values. Of course, reinventing, yeah, I've been very, I don't like just to do one thing only. I like to think a little bit bigger than that in my profession. I'm not only an actor. I think I'm something else. I like to direct, I like to produce, I like to actually create the environment in which creation can happen. It has to do very much also with the love that I feel for my city. In this particular case, Malaga has been betting very, very strongly for to be a cultural city, to break the paradigm that Malaga was just a touristic city, and did a very strong bet probably 2 decades ago with the transformation of the city, making a city more human. Our mayor did a war in cars and made the city more livable for pedestrians, for people, more human. And there were, you know, different players that they saw an opportunity to go there. So the Georges Pompidou went there, the Picasso Museum went there, and then the Thyssen Private Collection went there, and El CAC, the Center of the Contemporary Arts. And so the city started having this aura of you know, culture and art. And then we have also the film festival that took a very strong step and determination to be an international film festival. And it has to do with a lot of situations, personal situations that I have lived in the last 4 years. My health situation and many other things that have happened in my life that I took the determination to actually take a step and create a project called Teatro del Soho. And at the same time, we want to create schools. We want to put the eyes in the formation and education of the future generations of artists. The beginning couldn't have been better, interrupted obviously by coronavirus, but coronavirus is going to pass.
Absolutely.
We are not, we are going to continue.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, it can be more lucky for me. I'm so lucky to be here with you. And you know, I have to tell you, you are our orgullo nacional, and I have to tell you in Spanish, you know, because you are a great Malagueño. You are our ambassador, not only from Malaga, from Spain. You know, I'm also from Malaga, and I want, from here, as you have said, thank our mayor of Malaga, because it's incredible what you have said, and it's incredible how he has transformed our city, you know. I'm from Malaga, I'm from Madrid, but we are Spanish, and we have to sell all the lovely and incredible people we are here and things we are doing here. So the only thing I have to say is thank you very much. Thank you very much, not only for your time, for being here with me, for being here with all the ecosystem all around the world, because we need you, you know, we need how you prove us that everything is possible, that we can have crises, but everything is possible, that being an entrepreneur, being an innovator, the things are open for us. Thank you very, very much.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Gracias a ti.
Talent, experience, and perseverance. Great words from an idol of mine, Antonio Banderas. It's been an amazing prime time we have had. We promised you the world and we delivered you the stars. So thank you to all our finalists, judges, and speakers, and thank you for joining us. We will be back with another stellar day tomorrow when we look at sustainability and energy, mobility and infrastructure, and connectivity and data. And we're going to meet more legends of tech and entrepreneurship like William Shu from Deliveroo and Manny Spenger, who sold his company for $5 billion. That's right, I just said billion. How you like them manzanas. And share the love on social media using the hashtag South Summit 2020. We want to know what you thought of the awesome new TV format in South Summit. But more than that, we want you to join us again tomorrow. So this is Hasta Mañana from me, from William Miller, for the whole team of South Summit 2020. Hasta Mañana.
Reinvention is the key to overcome new challenges and keep growing. Welcome to South Summit 2020. A new networking platform with a revolutionary live TV format to access and connect from any device, anytime, and anywhere. Join South Summit 2020 and multiply your business opportunities.
Welcome everyone to this year's South Summit edition. We're now going to start with our track on legal tech. For this legal tech track, what's really exciting is that we're talking about the Legal Tech Venture Day Final. So in addition to some exciting content and some startups, we got some amazing speakers. At the same time, we're going to take advantage of this track to do the International Venture Days of IE Business School in terms of their final, and we're going to see a couple of very exciting startups. So let's begin. I'm going to start by introducing Soledad Atienza.